Hello there. Welcome back to grade 11 accounting. This video, we want to look at the preparation of the bank reconciliation, and we're going to look at question 1.2 in particular. So this is a question that we have, and the information relates to Vintage Traders, the business that we want to look at. So on the required part, we are going to start by 1.2.1, which says show changes in the case journals for 30 November 2020. So our marks that are there, we have got 8 marks. So remember, the cash journals that we are going to have, we are going to give the cash payments journal, and also we are going to have the cash receipts journal. So these are the two journals that we are going to adjust. And then 1.2.2 now needs us to calculate the correct bank account balance on 10th November 2020. So we'll do a search, and it's got 5 marks. And then we prepare the bank reconciliation statement on 30th November 2020. So we are going to only do 1.21, 1.22, and 1.23. So we go to our information given in the question. So this is information A, where we are given a bank reconciliation statement on 31 October 2020. So this comes as a bank reconciliation statement for the previous period. Then we go to additional information B, where it's additional information relating to the above bank reconciliation statement for October with the bank statement for November. So we're given adjustments there that are beneath there in point form that we also need to adjust. Then we go to information C, where we have provisional totals in the case journal on 30 November 2020 before receiving the bank statement. So all this information, you're supposed to go through everything before you start to answer the question. And then you can try to see in terms of the next page, what do we have? We now have a continuation of the information of the question. Here we are also given on the information D, entries on 30 November 2020 bank statement and do not appear in the case journal. So these are some of the adjustments that we are going to take into consideration as we are doing the bank reconciliation. So you'll see that this is our last information, which is F, according to the question that we want to do on bank reconciliation. And then information F says bank statement balance on 30 November 2020 is a question mark. So it means we are going to find that figure as a balancing figure. So that's what it means here. So yeah, which means we are just going to leave it blank as we prepare the bank reconciliation statement. The opening balance in the bank reconciliation statement, we'll leave it blank, and then we'll come back to calculate it as a balancing figure. Remember, the closing balance that we are supposed to find in the updated cash journals should be the same as the bank statement balance at the end. So if you come here, let's just try to illustrate it. If you come here at the beginning of the question, you'll see that we are being asked to on part 1.2.2, we are being asked to calculate the correct bank account balance. So the bank account balance that you are going to calculate in 1.2.2 should be the same with the bank reconciliation statement balance that you are going to get on 30th November 2020. So these two balance should be the same. So after we prepared the bank reconciliation, after we have prepared the bank account balance, and we found the bank account balance at the end of the period, a corrected one, we are going to take that one and then put it as the balance again on the bank reconciliation statement, as they are going to be the same. Then we go up in the bank reconciliation statement to find the opening balance, that is the question mark, that is the missing figure that we are supposed to find as a balancing figure. So that's exactly what it means. So we are going to start with 1.2.1, which says show changes in the case journals for 30 November 2020. So we go to the answer section to see what we have concerning that. We come here. This is the answer section that we are going to use. So here you see that the opening balance in the cash receipt journal is given 54,940, and we're giving again the opening balance in the cash payment journal is given again 64,800. So these are pre-entered. So we are going to just go through the errors that needs to be corrected there, and we go to information where we have the beginning in the beginning of the information that we have. So information A, we give an extract of the reconciliation statement 31 October 2020, and this is the figure, the balance that you are given in terms of that bank reconciliation statement. So we can go and try to see what information, additional information is saying about that. So you'll see that first point is saying the outstanding deposit appeared on the November bank statement. So what is it saying? The outstanding deposit that we are talking about is this one. And it's being said it's now appearing on the recent bank statement. So if it's appearing, it means it's now correct. It's now reflecting on the bank statement. Remember, in the journals, it was already entered. So if it's now on the bank statement, it means we are not going to correct anything. Everything is now correct. So we can just leave it. We are not going to adjust it. Then we go to the second point is saying check 642 was issued as a donation to a local charity. It was never deposited. Then we refer back now to the previous bank reconciliation. You see that we have got check 642 is here for 2,300. So it was issued. Remember, whenever we issue a check, we record it there and there in the journals. So, but the bank statement, it doesn't reflect there and there. We need to see the bank statement to see if it is now reflecting. But according to this check now, it's being said that it was issued as a donation to a local authority and it was never deposited. So if it was never deposited, it means that we are supposed to remove it since it was never deposited. So but when this check was issued, it was recorded in the journal. So obviously, when you issue a check, we record the other cash payment journal. So we are having a scenario that we are having a scenario of our bank account. So our bank account will be like this, whereby we are having the debit side and the credit side. So you see that the debit side of the bank account is represented by the cash receipts journal. And then the credit side is the cash payments journal. So this is exactly what it means. So when the check was issued of 642, we are having it as an amount of, let's just try to see which amount we have there. 642, it is an amount of 2,300. So it means when it was issued, it was on the credit, side, it's 2,300. But now we are being said that it was never deposited, so we have to remove it. So by removing it, you go to the opposite side and enter it so that we remove it. So when we do this, we are removing it. It's now 2,300 minus 2,300, and then it comes back to zero, which shows that we have removed it. So when we are debiting here, we are entering it in the cash receipts journal. So it means on our in our journals, we're going to put 2,300 under the cash receipts journal. So we go to our answer section. We are now on our answer section, and we are saying under cases journal, we have got our 2,300. As simple as that. Then we can go to see in terms of the next point. So on the next point, saying check 854 did not appear on the November bank statement. It was lost. A new check will not be issued. So we go to check 854. And we are seeing that we will check 54, which is here, which is for 1,250. And it's being said did not appear on the bank statement. It's not there on the bank statement, but the reason why it's not there is because it was lost and it will not be issued. So what it means is we are supposed to remove it. But as soon as we issued it, it was recorded. It's there. It's appearing there under the cash payment journal. So it's inside the cash payment journal. So we need to remove it since it was lost. So it comes back to the same scenario that we had previously, that we are having 1,250 is on the credit side. And it needs to be removed. So by removing it, we are supposed to come to the debit side and enter it, which is our cash receipts journal. So this is the correction part. So we are supposed to go to the cash receipts journal and enter again 1,250. So here we come here. So we are saying 1,250. Then we can now go to the next point and try to see what we have. So we come to point number 4, which is this one. It says check 888 did not appear on the November bank statement. So this one, there's no reason why it is not appearing. So when there's no reason that is being stated why it is not appearing, it means we are expecting it to appear on the bank statement. So when we expect it to appear on the bank statement, it means we have to update it now on the bank statement. We can just try to check it, which is this one, 5,780. It means it's there in the under the cash payment journal is 5,780. But there's no reason why we are being told that it's not appearing on the bank statement. So the issue is the business is expecting that that check will reach the bank and it will be processed. So when we are now doing the bank reconciliation statement, we are going to include it on the debit side of the bank statement. So we are having the this is affecting our bank reconciliation statement, which is check 888. So I'll go to the next point there. Then check 1032 appeared on the November bank statement with the correct amount of 5,250. So 1032, we are having it here. So it's being said it's appearing, but it's appearing with the correct amount of 5,250. So what does it mean? It means the amount that we are having here, which is 7,950. 7,950 is incorrect. We are having a bigger amount under the cash payments journal of 7,950. So we have to remove part of 7,950 so that it goes back to the correct figure, which is 5,250. So we can just find the difference between the two by saying 7,950 minus this one, and we see minus 5,250 and see what figure do we get there. So we are saying 7,950, and then we subtract 5,250, and you are going to see that you are going to get your 2,700. So here, the answer that you are getting is 2,700. So this 2,700, we are saying the credit side, we can just maybe try to put it again in that tier account that we've already created. So we are saying we have a 7,950 on the credit side under the cash payment journal. So to remove to make sure that this 7,950 goes back to 5,250, you have to remove 2,700. So by removing, we go to the opposite side and enter 2,700, so that it goes back to the correct figure, which is 5,250 as stated here. The correct amount is 5,250 on the bank statement. So by debiting, we're entering under cash receipt journal. So we go there again and put under cash receipt journal 2,700. So here we are saying under cash receipt journal, we are using again 2,700. Then we can go back again to try to see in terms of what else do we have according to the question which needs to be done. So we are done with information B. Then we go to C. Information C says provisional totals in the cash journals on 30 November before receiving a bank statement. So these are the provisional totals that we started with in our answer book. So we can just maybe skip it because we have them as pre-entered. So we go to the next page. Right. These ones are saying entries on November 2020 bank statement that do not appear in the cash journals. So we are saying these are entries that are on the bank statement that we cannot see in the ledger, or be it in the journals. But we can only get to know about these transactions when we get hold of the bank statement. So these are the transactions that are being listed there. A debit order is processed at the bank first, and then it reflects on the bank statement, but we can only get hold of the bank statement. That's when we can be able to see that there's a debit order which transpired, and there's an EFT which transpired, and also we have got issues of standing orders, etc. So let's try to see item by item and see how we can adjust those. So the entries on all the November 2020 bank statement that do not appear in the cash journal. So we have first on the 15th, we have got debit order, which is OUTsurance 8,950, and also debit order OUTsurance 8,950. So these items are appearing on the bank statement as they are, but we are not seeing them in the journals. Remember, we said what we have on the bank statement should be the same as what we're having in the journal. So in this case, we've got these two items appearing, but we have got a note which is saying insurance appeared twice in error. This will be reflected next month by this will be rectified next month by the bank. So what does it mean? It means on the bank statement there was supposed to be 8,950. So the other one we have to correct it by removing it on the bank statement. So this also is affecting our bank reconciliation. But also it's not appearing in the journals in the journals, there should be 8,950 that should appear in the journals. So remember, when you say debit order, what is being debited is our bank statement. Remember what we mean when you say on the bank statement, what is on the debit side of the bank statement should be the same as what we should see in the bank account. It should be the same as what will be on the bank account in the ledger. It should be on the credit side. What will be on the debit side of the bank statement should be on the credit side of the bank account in the ledger, which is representing our cash payment journal. What will be on the credit side of the bank statement will be on the debit side of the bank account, representing our cash receipts journal. So exactly as it is. So it means this one is a debit order, which means what was debited was the bank statement. So we should see that on the credit side of the bank account. So that 8,950 should appear here under the cash payment journal. So we should go under cash payment journal and enter 8,950. We are here. Let's try to see. So we have got 8,950 here on the cash payment under cash payment journal. Then we can go and try to see the next item that is listed there. We are having outstanding deposit. There's an outstanding deposit of 6,300, which should appear. We have it as outstanding deposit, which is this one is representing the previous period. So we can just leave it. We go to information D. We have an unpaid check 3,800 by the data, and pay in settlement of this data of 4,000 rands. So what does it mean? It means this 3,800 was already appearing under cash receipts journal, but it was unpaid, which means it was not processed in the bank. So what it means, we have to remove it. So by removing it, we go to the opposite to the cash payment journal and enter it as 3,800. So we go there. So we are saying here, we also have 3,800 under the cash payment journal. And then we go and check the next item. We'll try to see what we have next. Right, so we are here. We are now saying the next item that we are going to look at is on the 25th, which is an EFT by a tenant for rent income 16,500. So there's an EFT that was effected by a tenant paying rent. So it means the money was deposited in our account of 6,500. So it's appearing on the credit side of the bank statement, but it's not there in the journal. So it's supposed to appear under the cash receipt journal as 16,500. So it was 16,500 that also has to appear in the under the cash receipts journal. So you come here, you see that. So we are saying under the cash receipt journal, we're having 16,500. And then we go again to check on the next item. Right, after the EFT by tenant, we've got the interest on credit balance 750. Remember, the credit balance that we are referring to is the bank statement credit balance. When it's a bank statement credit balance, it's a favorable balance, just like a debit balance in our bank account in the ledger. So it's an interest, which means it's going to increase the money in our bank account. So it means when you go to our journals, we're going to have a 750 increase in our cash receipts journal. So we have got 750 under the cash receipt journal that we need to enter also. So we go there. We'll go down and see what we can, how we can enter it under our 750. We are saying it's under the cash and receipts journal. Then we also have the last item that we are having there that we need to check also. We have got credit card levies. So credit card levies, obviously, this is a charge that is there in our account of 908. It's on the debit side of our bank statement. So it should appear on the credit side of our bank account in the ledger, which is under the cash payments journal. So the cash payment journal is going to increase by 980. So we go there. So here now we've got our 980 and 980. Then we can now go to see on the next section and see how we are going to adjust in terms of our next section that is given in the question. So you have to go back and try to check in terms of the items that will be highlighted as a bank reconciliation statement. Remember, when we are going through the errors, we indicated in some points that this transaction is affecting the bank reconciliation statement. So we've got this checked at 888, which is 888, which is being mentioned here. Let's just try to go back to see where it is mentioned. Where on this point they are saying check 888 did not appear on the November bank statement. And you said when they just mention it's like this and they don't mention the reason why it's not appearing, it means it's supposed to be there. So we need to put it in the bank reconciliation statement. So we've got 888, and whenever it's a check, you know that it's a under cash payment journal, and it also has to go to the debit side of the bank statement. So you need to put it as an outstanding check of 888, and also which is 5,780. And also remember, we are supposed to start with an outstanding deposit. So if you go through our information, we go to the next information that we have so that we can try to put the outstanding deposit first, and all the checks, outstanding checks, we can group them together. So here, if you come here, on the last part, we are being told that entries in the cash journal journals not in the November bank statement. You see, they are not in the bank statement, but they are in the journals. We've got a deposit of 19,765, which is supposed to be done. So obviously, the assumption is that this deposit is going to reach the bank and be processed. So we need to put it in the bank reconciliation statement of 19,765 as an outstanding deposit. So we go to the bank reconciliation statement, and also we should take into account that we've got the bank statement balance of 30 November 2020, which is a question mark, which means the opening balance in the bank reconciliation statement, we don't have it. We'll come back to it when we have finished the other entries that needs to be done. So we come here and go to the bank reconciliation. This is the bank reconciliation statement on 30 November 2020. So we are saying this is the balance, the opening balance. And if you try to go back to see what are they saying about this opening balance, we can just maybe, we will leave it blank there because we have to specify whether it's a credit balance or a debit balance here. So we can just leave it. That's where we're going to put our balance, and then we put the amount, whether on the debit, it can be on the debit, it can be also on the credit. So we can just leave it blank. And then we start with the outstanding deposit. So here, that's where we're going to put the balance. Here, say outstanding deposit. Remember, we did locate it there, and we found that it's 19,765. So deposits comes on the credit side of the bank reconciliation, 19,765. And then from there, we can now list all the outstanding checks that we have. So here we can just say outstanding checks. So this is the outstanding checks that we have. And then for the outstanding checks, we are going to say, we are going to go there and try to find out what are the outstanding checks that we have. But we already have one that we indicated at the beginning of the question from the bank reconciliation statement of the previous 2,700. 5,780. We can just go and make a reference of that one. And now we have got number 888. We've got 888. And the amount that we have is 5,000. And remember, all outstanding checks comes on the debit side, which is here 5,780. And then other outstanding checks, we find them where we have items that are not appearing on the bank statement, which is the last part that we're having there. Entries indicate journals not in the November bank statement. We have got an EFT 14 to a creditor for the November, which is 8,630. So this was the payment that was supposed to be done to a creditor, but it wasn't effected. It's not reflecting on the bank statement. So we need to put it. We have got EFT 14 8,630. So we go there. EFT 14. And we are saying 8,630. And then I will check another outstanding check there. We are having check number 1044, which is 5,900. We can also refer to this one. So we are saying number 1044 or 5,900. Right. So we also have another entry that we reflected as affecting the bank reconciliation. We have got here again. It's affecting our bank reconciliation, which is saying insurance appeared twice in error. This will be reflected in next month bank in the next month by the bank. But on the bank's reconciliation, we have to put it there and there. So what we are saying is we have got an amount 8,950 on the debit side of the bank statement that we need to remove. So by removing it, remember we put it on the credit side. So we are going to put it on the credit side, and we are going to give a description that it's a credit correction on debit order. Credit correction on debit order. It's a debit order that we are correcting there. And we've got 8,950. So we go and put it to the credit side. So we are here. Then we are saying credit correction of debit order. So this is what we have, and then the amount that we are having is 8,950. And obviously, that's where we are going to put the balance now. So the balance that we are going to put there, we're going to take it from the balance that we get from the cash payment and cash receipts journal. So here we are supposed to calculate the bank account balance that we are supposed to put again and help us to come to find the opening balance in the bank reconciliation statement. So to find this balance, we are supposed to first of all add a total for the cash receipts journal, and then we add the total for cash payment journal, and then we can be able to calculate the bank account balance. So if you add the column of the cash receipts journal, and let's try to add and see what we find. So if you add the cash receipts journal, we're going to find a total of 78,440. You do the same thing to the credit side. We add all what we are having on the credit side, 64,800 plus 8,950 plus 3,800 plus 980. You are going to get your 78,530. So what is going to happen now is we want to calculate the bank account balance. So to calculate the bank account balance, we are going to start with the balance of the bank reconciliation for the previous period. So we go back there. So to find the bank balance for the previous period, we are going to say we start from here. This is the balance, debit balance as per bank statement. When it's a debit balance, it will be a negative figure. So what we are going to do here, we are going to say negative 8,220. You add the deposit which is 16,300. These outstanding checks we're supposed to subtract them. Subtract 2,300. Subtract 1,250. Subtract 5,780. Subtract 7,950. The final answer that you're supposed to get there. The final answer that you're supposed to get there should be a negative 9,220. So this is the balance that you are going to start with, a negative balance of 9,220 from the previous month's bank reconciliation. So this is the balance that is supposed to be here. So you start with that balance, and then you adjust with your the totals that you get for cash receipts and cash payments. So we are saying negative 9,220. And remember, this is the one for cash receipts one-off, so obviously it's a positive. So we add 78,440, then we subtract 78,530. So here we are saying for receipts, it should be a positive 78,440. And for payments, it's a negative 78,530. So let's try to calculate it as such and see what we get. So otherwise, you are starting with a negative 9,220. And then you add your 78,440. And then you subtract to 78,530. And then you are going to get your, let's just try to see what we get there. Let's try to calculate it as such and see what the figure I'm getting. If you come back here to the calculation that we had here, it means here we made a mistake here. So what we are supposed to do here, if you add it correctly, you're not supposed to get negative 9,220, but the answer that you are supposed to get there is negative 9,200. So that's where we have a mistake. So we can just correct it. There we have a negative 9,200. So when you are now calculating the bank balance, we are going to use the corrected figure that is negative 9,200. So we go down. So we're saying this figure that we're having here is going to be negative 9,200. And then you add 78,440, you subtract 78,530. So the final figure that you're supposed to get there is a negative 9,290, which is an unfavorable balance. This balance, which is a negative, represents an unfavorable balance because it's a negative one. So this will now assist us now when we are now putting it now in the bank reconciliation as our closing balance. Remember, this closing balance is the same that should appear on the bank reconciliation. So we're going to take it as an unfavorable balance and transfer it to the bank reconciliation. So we come to the bank reconciliation. So this is the same balance that we're going to put here. So if it's an unfavorable balance, it will be a debit balance in the bank reconciliation, but a favorable will be a credit balance. So if it's a debit balance, it means the balance BD is on the debit side. But the CD, as we put it here, we put it in the form of CD, which will be on the credit. CD will be on the credit, BD will be on the debit side. So what we are saying is we are going to put it as a debit balance. Debit balance. We're going to just say we can just describe it from the point of view of the bank account by saying on the bank account it will be a credit balance, but in the bank statement it will be a debit balance, but on the bank account it will be opposite, it will be on the credit side. So we can just say credit balance on the bank account. Credit balance on the bank account, and we put it on the credit side there is our CD, but the BD will be on the debit. So we are saying here 9,290. We said when it's unfavorable on the bank statement, it will be having a BD on the debit side, but the CD obviously will be on the credit side. So this is the CD form that we are putting here. So having that now, we can now be able to find the balancing figure at the beginning there. So what we are just supposed to do is to add the total of the debit and the total of the credit and see which total is greater. The greater total will come in between the double lines. So we are saying if you add the debit, let's start by adding the total of the debit. We are going to say 5,780. And then we add your 8,630. And then we add your 5,900. And then we are going to get your 20,310. Then the total of the credit, we are going to say 19,765. And then we add 8,950. And then we add 9,290. And then we are going to get 38,005. So we see that the credit is a greater total. So that's the amount that is supposed to come in between the double lines is 38,005. And then here we again we get 38,005. So we have a missing figure here as an opening balance. So we see that the missing figure is the debit side is the one which is the smaller total. So that's why we're having a missing figure which is supposed to come here by saying 38,005 minus 20,310. And then we are going to get 17,695, which is supposed to come in 17,695. And then obviously this is the debit balance. So the description that we're going to put here, we're going to say debit balance as per bank statement. But the closing balance, you make reference to the bank account. You see the difference now. The opening balance in the bank reconciliation, you give reference to the bank statement. Then the closing, you're supposed to give a reference to the bank account. So this marks at the end of our bank reconciliation statement. Hopefully, this video was very helpful. Let's subscribe and share. Let's share the link to our friends. Let's turn off the notification button so that when I upload new videos as you approach to the exams, you get notified and enhance your preparation. As for this video, I'm signing out. We'll meet again in the next video.